we're trying to kill bacteria everywhere. And we are trying to nuclear kill bacteria in our
Even
mouths.
more so today with the COVID stuff
Yes,
going on. That
I know.
scares me because everybody is using these hand sanitizers. All of a sudden, your hands are going to get raw and red, just like dentists and physicians that were washing with these chlorhexidine rinses every time they saw a patient, and all of a sudden their skin breaks out and it's pretty unhealthy and ugly looking. It is a huge problem.
And I talked about that in the podcast I did with Ben Lynch, concerns about overuse of hand sanitizer, both because of xenoestrogens, parabens, and phthalates in those chemicals, things like triclosan and dial soap, and also because of disruption of the microbiome on our hands. Ben made this amazing point that if you decrease the diversity of the oropharyngeal, the nasopharyngeal microbiome, the collection of organisms in the nose and the throat, we're more susceptible to a flu virus that enters there. And so this isn't to say that a virus can't be transmitted if you shake someone's hand, but let's weigh pros versus cons here, and how do we really navigate this, and are people going to go overboard with hypersanitization? On a previous phone call that we had, you mentioned something to me that has stuck with me. I think that mouthwash must be a multi-hundred-million-dollar industry at this point, because it feels like it's so clean.
Right.
It's just like, if you wanted to nuke your mouth, what is better than mouthwash? But tell me what you shared about mouthwash a few months ago. Because
this is very interesting,
yeah,
because again, you go to the dental office, they are either selling mouthwashes that are antimicrobial, or they're recommending a variety of brands that are over the counter, or even prescription mouthwashes. They even use therapeutic types of antimicrobials in trays and things for your mouth. So here's very interesting subject, not just the conversation that we had that that you're destroying the microbiome in your mouth. Here's a very specific situation. So when you use an antimicrobial mouthwash, you're going to kill a lot of bacteria, of course, and one of the bacteria groups that you're going to kill are the gram-negative bacteria on the top of your tongue. And it's going to be great. It's going to taste good. You're going to not have any bad breath for maybe another hour. Maybe makes you feel better, or a person feel better, and you do that on a daily basis, of course, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, because that's the way you should do it, and that's the way your dentist told you to do it, and everybody else that's in the marketing world tells you to buy their products so that you can do it. Interestingly enough, there was a paper that was published, I would say a couple years ago, I can't remember exactly what, and it was by some cardiologists, literally talking to other cardiologists, and they said, if you have your patients using a antimicrobial mouthwash every day, you might want to stop. And here's the reason why. If you give these patients high blood pressure medication and you're not getting the results that you want, there is a biological process that if your patients are using an antimicrobial mouthwash every day, they are damaging or disturbing that pathway. And the pathway is this. When you eat foods that have natural nitrates in them, your body absorbs the nitrates, mainly in the duodenum, and literally 60–70% of these nitrates get into your salivary glands. And those salivary glands obviously are pouring saliva out of your mouth or into your mouth constantly, and these biologically active nitrates get into your mouth. Now, the nitrates react with the gram-negative bacteria on the top of your tongue, creating a little chemical reaction, so it reduces it from nitrate to nitrite, and then you swallow the nitrites, not consciously, you just swallow on a regular, and it gets into your gut, and several things happen. But the majority of what happens with the nitrites that get into your gut is it becomes nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is critical for cardiovascular health. It's actually important for gum health in your mouth, but it also reduces naturally your blood pressure. So if you are killing the gram-negative bacteria in your mouth, you are stopping the natural pathway from nitrate to nitrite to nitric oxide. And if you're on blood pressure medication and you're not getting the nitric oxide that is naturally being produced, then your blood pressure will go up. And that's why the cardiologists warn their patients, or other cardiologists, to make sure their patients that are on blood pressure medication are definitely not using an antimicrobial mouthwash every day. Now, I don't argue that antimicrobial mouthwashes are necessary therapeutically for maybe a week to 10 days, but you have to be keen and understand that you must repopulate that wonderful garden of bacteria in your mouth and the garden of bacteria in your gut. And to use a lozenge probiotic in your mouth that you think is going to reestablish the bacteria in your mouth, that doesn't work. The best way and the only way to regerminate good bacteria is to use probiotics that are spore-based, because the only probiotics that literally can survive stomach acid are the spore-based probiotics. These are a variety of bacillus spores. And the others, like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, probiotics, which are great. They make lots of metabolites that get into your gut and do a lot of good things. But those lactobacilli bacteria and bifidobacteria are destroyed in the stomach acid, so they cannot regenerate in the gut. To get new germination of bacteria, you need spore-based probiotics. And those spore-based probiotics also stimulate the rest of the commensal bacteria to increase in numbers and quantity and quality. And that's the way to regenerate that gut. And when you regenerate the gut, you will improve the mouth.